In 1 Corinthians 10 and 4, Paul identifies Christ with the stone from which God provided water for the Israelites in Exodus 17 and 6. Similarly, John records Jesus' statement in one of his conversations with the Jews that your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. That's in John 8 and 56. John has been present with his people, Jesus has been present with his people since the beginning. In stark contrast to the false teachers' claim about God and Jesus, Jude elevates Christ to his rightful place. The one whom he served is the one master and ruler of all things. As God, Jesus was present at the Exodus. He delivered the Israelites from Egypt and brought them to the promised land. Anyone who denies the fundamental truth of Christ is not among the true believers. They have perverted the truth. And so we see that Jesus was present. They said that he was present always with his people. He was there in the beginning. He was there all the time. He'll be there in the end. He said, I will be with you until the end of the age. He said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And so Jesus is always with us. And so in our next deal that comes from under the corrupt teachers is evil speakers, verses 5b through 11. That's a lot to read. That's a lot of verses in there. And so anyway, 5b reads, I'm going to have to go back to the beginning. I was here in the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for example, suffering the vengeance, of eternal fire. Likewise, also these filthy dreamers defile the flesh, despise dominion, and speak evil of dignities. Verse 9, yet Michael, the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuke thee. 10 says, but these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally as brute beasts. In these things they corrupt themselves. And verse 11 says, woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam for a reward, and reward, and perished in the gainsaying of Kor. Okay, so wow, that was a lot for this little bit here. So evil speakers. It says in verses 5 through 7, Jude cited 3 examples of God's judgment on sinners. These were the rebellious Israelites, fallen angels, and the evil cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. In each case, there came a day of reckoning for their disobedience. The dreamers Jude were describing here were likewise would likewise suffer the rod of God's judgment. Jude described these false teachers as dreamers because they had been deluded by Satan. 3 charges are leveled against them in Jude verse 8. First, they defiled the flesh by immoral living. Second, they despised dominion, which could be rendered reject authority. This they did by their unwillingness to follow Christ's teachings. And third, they speak evil of dignities, which may refer to angels. They were rejecting all divine authority. Jude said that these wicked men spoke evil of things which they had no knowledge. They were without spiritual sense, and so spiritual things are beyond them. And when these are brought to them, they are treated with scoffing and mocking. There were things these evil men knew, but their knowledge was like the instinct of an unreasoning animal and would end up destroying them. The picture painted by Jude is that of men who consumed by animal appetites. They were consumed by animal appetites. They had no restraints whatsoever. They operated on instinct alone. The Greek phrase translated, they corrupt themselves in Jude 10, chapter 1, verse 10, may also be translated, they are corrupted or they are destroyed. In other words, they are knowledge gained only by the brute sense leads to sure destruction. And so these false teachers didn't know anything of any kind of spiritual things. I think it's in Jude. I think that's in Jude where it talks about how they'd be asking, they'll say scoffers will be asking, where is this coming that he's promised? And you know how First Lady was talking about last week that some people that, I ain't gonna say who, some people were saying that Jesus is not coming back because he's already here and stuff. And they are so, minds are so closed to the truth, and they said God will let them believe the lie if they don't accept the truth, because he will turn their minds over to a reprobate mind and let them believe that lie and stuff. So you got to accept Jesus as your personal Savior, and you can't just sit up and think that Jesus has already come, because these false teachers, what they'll tell you is because you'll believe that if you believe what they're saying, you believe that Jesus has already come, and all the people hadn't, when Jesus does come, it's going to be a great taken away, because the people are going to leave. He's coming for his saints, and they're just going to vanish, all the true believers. And then he's going to come with his saints later when he reigns on this earth for 1,000 years. Once he take them out, I don't know how long they'll be gone before he comes back with his saints, and then with his saints, he's going to rule the whole world and stuff, and for 1,000 years. And there's not, that's when Satan is going to be locked up, and it's not going to be anything done, evil at all, because all of Satan's and his minions, they're going to be all locked up, and some of them probably already in the fire, and so, but then after that 1,000 years, all hell is going to break loose, because the ones that were born during that time don't know anything about evil and stuff, and so I think God is giving them that chance to make a choice, like he given us. And we have that, time to make a choice of who we're going to serve. Is it going to be Satan, or we're going to serve the Lord? As for me and my house, I will serve the Lord. And so in our last part, it says, founts of spiritual corrosion, verses 12 and 13. It says, these are spots in your feast of charity, when they feast with you in conjunction, invaded the love feast in the local assemblies, but all they did was defile them